Good morning, guys. It is very early. It's about 4 a.m. and yeah, I'm just struggling to sleep. Moved down here to where I thought it might be cooler. It's the 24th of June, 24th day of our challenge. We're gonna do some football challenges today, have a little mess around in the cage, hopefully. And then, in addition to that, we're gonna have a sit down and a chat. I'm going to try and get back to sleep for a few more hours, but for some reason I've decided to start the vlog here today. So like the video, subscribe, I'm going to go back to sleep, and I will see you in a few hours. Hey guys, we have set up in the woods for a little bit of a chat with Louis. We're here today on the 24th, and yeah, we're about 4 or 5 days away from what would be an attempt at a half marathon. Now, we're going to get Louis down here in a second, and we're going to ask him a little bit about how he feels about that, but I believe it's not been something he's attempted before. We're currently sitting here in 30-degree heat, sheltering in the woods. See the background behind me. So yeah, so we're gonna have a little chat. We're gonna discuss what would be involved in the preparation over the next 4 or 5 days, how he's feeling, and whether we think it's gonna be something we can actually do. So yeah, let's bring in Louis. Take a seat. So actually, before we get into the stuff about the run, just generally, how has the last 23 days been for you?
Really good in terms of fitness.
Yeah.
Of course, before this month began, I wasn't being the healthiest. So yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity to film this whole month and get fit again. like we've said before, it's a really unique time that
Yeah.
we're able to do this. So yeah.
So yeah, leading on from that, what would you say has been the biggest positive so far, and you're hoping to look back on this? What's been the biggest highlight?
Biggest positive, one that comes to mind is the distance ran of 10k, and I hadn't been able to do a 10k for a while.
Yeah.
Prior to this month, I remember when we started the month, I was trying to do the 5k challenge that was set on Strava by a few people. I think it was Run for NHS 5k. I think
Yeah.
you sent me that actually.
Yeah.
And I tried to do it 2 or 3 times, and each time I clocked in maybe about 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers,
Yeah.
and I would have to stop. And it's the same route that we take.
Yeah.
I would have to stop because of the lower back pain that I was having.
Yeah.
But actually, since we've started this challenge, we've progressively continued the distance. So that's been quite rewarding to increase the distance and think to myself, yes, we can continue to run longer and faster, and that wasn't possible before we started training.
It's good. I think it's good to see sort of tangible benefit, like proof that things have got better. So if it's
Yeah.
distance covered, that's what we were talking about. Is we'll look at that right at the end of the challenge. But weight is one aspect to look at. Weight on the scales, but that can fluctuate and be misleading. Whereas physical benefits, changes to distance you can cover, feeling fitter, just the way clothes fit you, all those kind of things make a big difference. Is there anything that you would say up to this point that if we were to do something like this again, you would change, or anything that you would look to do differently?
What I would do differently next time is take the experience that we've taken from this one challenge and improve upon that. That's in terms of myself. But I suppose from my perspective of what you would do differently, or what we would do differently in terms of exercise is, I don't know, maybe once a week we have a timeline of what the exercises are, and then for me, from the filmmaking side of it, I can apply all the things.
Yeah.
But even if I was, of course, and I am just one person training with a personal trainer for a month, I would prioritize a lot more sleep, maybe. Start every day with water, end it with water. But I think in general, the nutrition has been much better.
It's been good. I think planning is a big thing. And if I was to say the biggest thing I've learned from this is organization, and the importance of that regular, having a sort of, I would say, going to bed either at the end of the week, at the end of your Sunday, or even at the end of every night, knowing what you've got on for next day. Then that's something that I would say has been a big benefit for me, or a big learning curve for me, is that organization and that discipline. And hopefully that's going to help me going on into the future with clients. I think a real benefit from this project is I've realized that the amount of time that we've put into it, you realize how long the day is, and how much you can do in a day. From getting up early and getting ready for filming and training, to the full editing process. Once we take that process out of our day, then I'll really appreciate how much time I've got to do things when time isn't wasted. So yeah, that's been a real benefit for me. Just moving on now to the end goal, which would be the last day of the challenge, the 30th or 31st of, so it's the 30th of June. You said yourself that coming into this challenge, you were trying to hit 5K as a target. I highlighted that I thought, given your previous history, being relatively comfortable with runs over the last 3 or 4 years, up to 5, 10K in the past, I said I felt it was feasible that after 30 days of consistent training, careful nutrition, building up, we could potentially work on a half marathon at the end of the run. So how do you feel about that now that that is potentially only a few days away?
I have some thoughts about that. I think positively, because the last run we ran was 10 kilometers. That was an improvement on the last run we ran, which was 5. And one of the improvements is, of course, the distance. The second improvement was the lower back pain was pretty much gone. I think that's because we took some time to stretch the back beforehand. And I think we've ran a 10K before.
We've done it in the past.
If what you're saying is a half marathon 21?
Yeah, it's just under 22 or just
So,
over 21. Yeah.
Essentially double. I think is achievable.
Yeah, yeah, we discussed it.
Yeah.
So I've had a few people I've spoken to as well that have asked about this idea of trying to get to a half marathon at the end of this challenge and how it's feasible to get to a half marathon distance in 30 days. And one thing I would start by saying is that I know that you've run quite long distances in the past, last few years, regular football. Runs in the gym, you know, so it's not like you're coming from an absolute place of never training before.
Mm-hmm.
So that is important to factor in. But I believe that this was possible, but there is going to be some changes that have to take place over the next few days now in order for it to be likely to happen. So there is things we discussed, your how you eat and your nutrition in the days leading up to it. We're going to talk a little bit more about your carbohydrate intake the night before and then in the morning and what works for you. I can only speak from experience as what's worked for me and other people that I've run with, and we're going to try and use that experience to hopefully give you the best opportunity to run this distance as well. Have you had any thoughts about the weather conditions for what the potential weather conditions could be for this run as well?
It is a daunting thought to think that we would be running it in the peak of Britishness weather. 30 degrees, is it?
So I think we're hoping that by the time we get to Saturday, it's gonna cool down slightly, but we are still looking at somewhere between 25 and 28 degrees, I think, for the run if
Yeah.
it sticks to what's predicted. So that's gonna be tough.
It's quite hot. Yeah, I mean, what can you do? You just have to do it. That's the day that we're specifying for it. I know that we've ran in the rain, and that is quite refreshing sometimes. But yeah, my thoughts on that is it's going to be hard, but we can do it.
That's good.
I think I can do it. I know you ran that distance before.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be tough for me as well. It's been a long time since the last half marathon, this kind of distance.
Does the hay fever play up when it's hot?
Well, it just depends where we are. It depends on the conditions, but
Oh.
it does play a factor in breathing. But yeah, no, it's for me it would be around this time of year that I would be looking to do the half marathons. There's a few marathons, half marathons that I enjoy doing. There's London Landmarks Half Marathon. There is the Great North Run later on in the year. All of these runs are obviously cancelled this year, so I thought this would be a great way of trying to hit that target and get that real feeling of achievement, but in a different way. We won't have the crowds, we won't have the people, but hopefully we can do it as a personal achievement to round off the 30 days of fitness. Final thoughts. How is this whole process, is this going to change your future attitude to training and fitness?
Yes, I hope so. Well, no, the answer is yes, because I wouldn't want to lose the progress that we've made in all the areas, especially longevity and cardio, because when you run this long,
Yeah.
and then you don't run for a long
Yeah.
time, you
You don't wanna lose
then
it.
not be able to return to the same thing. And I want to be able to play football every week,
Yeah.
every Saturday for our club.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to run in those games. I
Yeah.
don't want to have to come out of this challenge and then not train again for about a month because, you know, the one side of me says, oh, I could never train again because we've done an intensive week, but I don't want to do that. I want to maintain some fitness, and I think we're going to maintain football fitness maybe 2 to 3 times a week, but not every single day for different things. But yeah, it will change my perspective on that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the main thing, is hopefully we can take elements of what's been going on in this intense month and take the positives from that and use that in our day-to-day life, not only through fitness, but in terms of organisation, planning, all of that stuff that we've got from it. So hopefully that will be a benefit. We'll find out further down the line if that's worked. So yeah, thanks for coming down to the Slackline today and being interviewed.
No worries.
Take care.
Oh, yep.
And we'll see you in a bit. Okay. There we go, back in my rightful place. So yeah, so it was good to chat to Louis today. Just especially in this kind of environment, it's very nice to just catch up and see how he's feeling, how he's doing. You would think that we would get more of those conversations in privately, but it's just one of those things when we're working on this project, we're spending the time putting in to the training and into the editing, and actually we haven't had as much time as you might think to just discuss how the process has been, how we're feeling about the last week and all that stuff. So it's been great to chat about that. Yeah, so from here we will go for the last week, see how we're doing, and hopefully hit that half marathon on the last day. See you in a bit.